by Mr. Nick Dazan, the Director of Voter Education and Publicity Department, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Honorable Princess Miriam Onora, I'm sure she's on her way. We welcome her in absentia. The Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, Mr. James Lalo, on his way. Madam Ekaite Judith Umar, my big sister, the National President, the first female president, and the only female president for the Joint National Association for People with Disabilities. Thank you, ma'am. I'm going to skip the other people. When they come, we will recognize them. Dr. Duro Onota, board chair, board member, Inclusive Friends Association, and consultant, Duro Self Consultancy. Dr. Duro, you're welcome. Barrister Onwe, President, Association of Lawyers with Disability. INEC directors here present and members of the Commission. Disability rights leaders here present. Ladies and gentlemen of the press. We're excited that you created time out of your very busy schedule to join us at this all-important roundtable. The genuine participation of all citizens in political process is a cornerstone of democracy. Political participation is clearly rooted in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, which mentions the right of every person to equal participation in public affairs, the right to vote and to be elected, and the right to access public service. IFA made important progress to strengthen the capacity of persons with disabilities, advance their rights and participation in political process, and to improve government inclusion of and responsiveness to persons with disabilities in Nigeria. Our goal is to identify good practices nationally by engaging with disabled persons organizations, policymakers, and disability experts working on legal capacity reforms and supporting decision-making arrangements for political and public participation of persons with disabilities. We would like to make use of this Stakeholders Roundtable meeting to hear firsthand from the community of persons with disabilities and to jointly identify good practices in the area of legal participation, legal capacity reform, policy and institutional reform processes, and support decision-making arrangements, especially in the Anambra, Ekiti, and Osun off-cycle election that are drawing nearer. The significant challenges to the realization of the rights to political participation for persons with disabilities remains legal obstacles such as restriction on the right to vote for persons with disabilities and gaps between the promise of law and policy and their actual implementation. These barriers can include persons with disabilities can exclude persons with disabilities from the opportunity to influence the development and implementation of the laws and policies which shape their daily lives. Addressing these challenges as soon as possible is essential to increasing the legitimacy of public institutions and creating more equitable and inclusive society in which all members can participate fully. Being involved in the electoral process is contingent on access to information, commonly through radio, television, and the internet, as well as printed materials. Where persons with disabilities require support to vote, the law should provide for assistance in voting but for a person with disabilities. and to vote for a person of their choice. Such assistance should be available to all persons with disabilities as they request. Now, some key recommendations. This is coming early because some of our key stakeholders may be leaving us soon. That INEC strengthens the training of its ad hoc on PWD-friendly aids and processes like the Braille Ballot Guide, EC30D PWD, that's the written instruction for the deaf, from EC40H, priority voting, etc., to ensure the inclusion and participation of PWDs in the 2021 Anambra governorship election and other upcoming elections. That INEC brings polling units down from the verandas of public buildings to the floor. Or build ramps. I know INEC is not fully responsible for this, but can also push to advocate for the building of ramps and handrails at polling units located in public buildings to make them more accessible for PWDs, especially those with reduced mobility. To ensure that training for election officials, election administrators, security, and political parties include information and education about the rights and needs of persons with disabilities. The NOA and the INEC Voter Education and Publicity Department should collaborate with other media providers to increase the accessibility of their output. While media output can be made more accessible for PWDs through subtitle, sign language interpretation, and audio descriptions. In the run-up to election, communication materials that provide instruction for voting and information on candidates should offer clear explanation in simple language and be easily accessible or available in different formats for various disability clusters. The Participate Today campaign appreciates INEC and the National Assembly for their continuous efforts to more election accessibility for the over 30 million Nigerians with disabilities. We appreciate all PWD leaders and media for working with us so far to deepen engagement of PWD participation in election. We hope that today's deliberation will lead to far-reaching resolutions that we can adopt by way of communicate and work together to implement as achieved before the Anambra, Ekiti, and Osun off-cycle election. Lastly, we want to appreciate the National Endowment for Democracy, NED, for its continuous funding support towards the increased participation of persons with disabilities in Nigeria's political and electoral process. I wish us a very, very fruitful deliberation and sound recommendations that will push our issues forward. Thank you very much.